Jubilation trailed the sack of Judiciary by the Apex Court. Chief Justice of Nigeria welcomes hundreds of law school graduates to the Nigerian bar, plus new judges of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria sworn in. It's a pleasure having you with us on today's episode of Judiciary Watch. I am Augusta IDIKWU. For our discuss this week,
Dorothy said she was entitled to her father's property because there was no will to spell out what and what will belong to who and who. And they said, no, you are a female child. It is abomination. It is not done in Igbo land.
We will be looking at the side of the law in matters of wills and inheritance. Please don't go away.
Keep watching Judiciary Watch for deep knowledge of the law,
issues bordering on our collective and individual fundamental rights,
for knowing the correct perspective of the law,
issues of governance.
You just watch Judiciary Watch,
because there's no program that is like it.
Welcome back. The Supreme Court has overturned the judgment of Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, that affirmed Ali Modu Sharif as the authentic national chairman of the People's Democratic Party. A three-man panel of the Apex Court justices led by Justice Body Rhodes Vivo in a judgment held at the PDP National Convention held in Port Harcourt that dissolved the party's National Executive Committee led by Sharif was constitutional.
It was a legal battle that lasted more than 1 year between Ahmed McAfee's led faction of the People's Democratic Party and the Ali Modu Sharif's faction. The legal tussle had traversed from the Federal High Court in Abuja and Port Harcourt, where there were conflicting judgments arising from the same suit. The Court of Appeal Port Harcourt Division had also in its judgment affirmed Sharif's faction as the authentic and recognized one. But a panel of Apex Court justices on Thursday, after hearing the appeal filed by McAfee's faction, came to a conclusion in its judgment that the appellate court was wrong to have declared Sharif as the party's chairman. The Apex Court also held that the National Convention of the PDP held on May 21, 2016 in Port Harcourt, Rivers State that sacked Sharif was constitutional.
There is not going to be victimization. We are going to pursue genuine reconciliation with members that are willing to be reconciled, but all in the overall interest of the party, not imposing anybody on the rest of the people. There is not going to be any victimization because somebody had one opinion or the other. We will try to reconcile the party and make it stronger and stronger so that 2019 will be easy for our team supporters.
Okay. We are very happy. It's one party. They are brothers and sisters. They must go back home and work together as a team. Nobody is rejoicing over the other. The judgment is correct. This is the Supreme Court. There's nowhere else to go. They must be reconciled to the judgment, be reconciled to one another, and come together and work together as a party for the good of the nation.
The panel further lambasted Sharif, saying that he instituted 10 suits in a bid to remain perpetually in office. While Ahmed McAfee was present in court with a large retinue of loyalists of his faction, including Governor Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State and Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, Sharif was absent in court.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onogen, has called for valuable investment in the Nigerian justice system. Justice Onogen made this call at the July 2017 call to bar ceremony in Abuja on Thursday. Emmanuel Bagudu completes the story.
A total of 1,468 successful graduates of the Nigerian Law School were called to the Nigerian bar to serve as barristers and solicitors. While giving them the license to practice in any Nigerian law court, Chief Justice of Nigeria Walter Onogen enjoined them to be serious and be ready to learn from senior lawyers bearing in mind that the legal profession is the engine room for the development of the country.
Rather than rushing to set up your own law firm, as some new wigs are fond of doing, my sincere advice to you is that you endeavor to acquire your skills under the supervision of a reputable senior or a firm of competent legal practitioners. This will ultimately make you better practitioners as you would learn the rudiments of legal practice.
The significance of the call to bar ceremony to the Nigerian justice system can never be overemphasized.
It is only through the call to bar ceremony that aspirants to the bar are admitted to practice as lawyers in Nigeria. So it is a very important ceremony. Without the call to bar ceremony, nobody can practice as a barrister and solicitor in Nigeria.
For the new wigs and their family members, it's a day worth celebrating.
I can't give you my word because I feel very, very, very happy on this day.
I'm quite grateful to the Council of Higher Education for the knowledge imparted on us, and I'm looking forward to making a great impact in the judiciary and justice system in Nigeria.
The 1,468 graduates of the Nigerian Law School newly called to the bar are expected to strengthen the Nigerian judiciary. Emmanuel Babudu, PTV News.
Chief Justice of Nigeria Walter Onogen has sworn in 19 new judges for the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. The judges, who were picked from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, are to add to the number of the already existing judges currently presiding over matters at the National Industrial Court of Nigeria.
As judge of National Industrial Court, I will discharge my duties and perform my functions honestly.
According to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onogen, the newly sworn-in judges must be mindful of their pledges of allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which revolves around preserving, protecting, and defending the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He added that posterity will find them right if they put themselves in the side of the law.
That aspect of the practice of the law is different from what you are now entering into. So, as much as possible, try to have a quick changeover from your previous roles to that of adjudication. These are two different ball games. In adjudication now, your friends are yourself and most probably your immediate family. Some will naturally avoid themselves, some you should deliberately avoid to enable you function efficiently and effectively in that role. So with time, you will have to, what should I say, detoxicate yourself. All right? But it is, I'm sure you will enjoy the exercise.
For his part, President of the Industrial Court of Nigeria, Babatunde Adejimo, it is a plus to the nation's judiciary as well as a motivation to the Nigerian labor force.
Utmost diligence, at least delay will be reduced due to overcrowded dockets. Now that we have 19 more hands, you can rest assured Nigerian people that we do our best to see that we decongest our dockets.
The newly sworn-in judges were also given access to the Supreme Court senior justices for effective adjudication. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News.
If you're just joining us, this is Judiciary Watch, where we bring to you the trend in the Nigerian justice system. It is time for yet another break. We will be back in just a moment.
Keep watching Judiciary Watch for deep knowledge of the law,
Issues bordering on our collective and individual fundamental rights,
for knowing the correct perspective of the law.
Issues of governance.
You just watch Judiciary Watch.
Because there's no program that is like it.
Welcome back. Our discuss this week is on gender discrimination, on issues of inheritance and death benefits. Just recently, the Supreme Court voided the Igbo law and custom which forbade a female child from inheriting her late father's estate on the grounds that it is discriminatory and conflicts with the provisions of the Constitution. The court held that the practice conflicted with Section 42 Sub 1A and Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution. The judgment was on the appeal marked SC/224/2004, filed by Mrs. Lois Chituru Ukeje, wife of late Lazarus Ogbonna Ukeje, and their son, Enyinaya Lazarus Ukeje, against Mrs. Gladys Ada Ukeje, the deceased's daughter. Judiciary Watch engaged some indigenous Igbo men within the Federal Capital Territory to react on the decision by the Apex Court.
I have studied about women, knowing that a woman in this global world, this latest world, a woman is very, very valuable. They are the same, equal. Even instead of you to get a man that will be a trouble to you, it's better like me. God bless me with 3 sweet, beautiful daughters that you can ever think of. That are wonderful, doing extremely well. You understand?
So to me, from little I know, your child is your child. When you give a birth to a child, whether female or male, should inherit what belongs to the family or the father. In the sense that you are the one that gave the birth to your daughter and your son. There shouldn't be anything different because your child comes from God. Not you will decide. When God gave you a child, if you want to deprive the female one some certain rights, that means you are challenging God. But if you are not challenging God, you should know that your daughter and your son came from God. You are not the one that produced. So when God gives you whatever you want to share, you should share it equal.
It is now time to join legal practitioner Anthony IDIKWU for the discussion proper. We're here at the law office of DK Yohemba & Co. to meet with the head of chambers, Barrister Anthony IDIKWU, and we'll be looking at wills and inheritance in Nigeria. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you on this episode of
Pleasure is mine.
So, on to our first question. What are wills?
Wills is an instrument, a legal instrument, being created, registered, and donated by the testator during his lifetime to take effect for the beneficiaries of the content of that legal instrument after his lifetime.
Okay, I think for the sake of our viewers out there, why don't you get it in
it's all right. Okay.
Yes.
You see, will is a document prepared by someone when he's still alive, wherein contains all he needs, all he has shared for his children, those that will benefit from his word when he dies, so that after his death it will be read to the beneficiaries of his estate, of his word, and will become effect when the person has died, not when the person is still alive.
Okay, so on to our second question. Can you enlighten us on wills and inheritance in Nigeria?
If the definition of inheritance are those things that are contained in the will. Will are not what you share for, are not those things shared to you after your donors, like your father's, the person that donated that will. The will itself are not those things to share. The content of the will are the inheritance. Now, in civil law, inheritance is defined to be the succession of the heir to all the rights and properties. Right? It now says it is either testamentary, where heir is created by will, or ab intestato, where it is merely created by law. Ab intestato, it is the oral aspect of it. If it is not created automatically, of course, you can share it among yourselves, as customs demand, provided it is incompatible with the provision of section 42, subsection 1, paragraph A, and subsection 2 of the 99 Constitution. So the provision of that constitution constitutionalized the creation of will and the execution of the will. If the creation and the execution of the will is not incompatible with the constitution, it is illegal. Be it in line with your customs and tradition. There can be customs and tradition without the constitution. That is why when we look at section 1 of the 99 Constitution, whether the preparation of will and execution of the will, even if you are going to do it in line with your customs and tradition, it must be incompatible with the provisions of the Constitution. That is why the Constitution in section 1, subsection 1 of the 99 Constitution said, this Constitution is supreme, and its provisions shall have binding force on all authorities and persons throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now let's come and see subsection 3 now. It says, if any other law is inconsistent with the provision of this Constitution, this Constitution shall prevail, and that other law shall to the extent of inconsistency be void. That is to say, if you did not execute the content of that your will incompatible with the Constitution, it will be voided and null by any court. Now, how do you now comply with the Constitution in executing this will? Even when you are even executing it in your own customs and traditional way, in your customary way, then you have to come to section 42, subsection 1. It says, a citizen of Nigeria of a particular community, ethnic group, place of origin, sex, religion. What we are talking about is sex, religion, or political opinion shall not, by reason only to that he is such a person. Now let's look at subsection 2. Let's look at subsection 2 now. No citizen of Nigeria shall be subjected to any disability or deprivation merely by reason of the circumstances of his birth. And because you are a female child and you are not entitled to your father's building, probably maybe you are even the first child of the family, it must be shared in total with the provision of the Constitution. That is why the Supreme Court, in the recent judgment in the case of Ukeje versus Ukeje, Ukeje, the woman was the wife to late Ukeje. Now, when the man died, the daughter, Dorothy, said she was entitled to her father's property because there was no will to spell out what and what will belong to who and who. And they said, no, you are a female child. It is abomination. It is not done in Igbo land. The lady said, no, I am entitled. It is my right. She went ahead and instituted an action before a Lagos State High Court. Lagos State High Court heard that yes, she's truly entitled in law. Dissatisfied, the mother and the others, the male children, appealed against the decision of the Lagos State High Court to the Lagos State Division of the Court of Appeal. Then the Lagos State Division of the Court of Appeal entered judgment in the lady's favor. Dissatisfied, they came to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court heard that it is an attempt. It is an attempt to oppress women folks. That it is the right of this lady, the right of the respondent, and that everything that is meant to be shared for the children must be shared equally to them all, irrespective of the gender's differences. Now, then in addition, Supreme Court heard in the case of it was a landmark judgment in the case of IDIKWU versus IDIKWU 2014 9 Nigeria Weekly Law Report Part 1412993. Ogubi JSC heard that it is punitive, uncivilized, and only intended to protect the selfish perpetration of male dominance, which is aimed at suppressing the right of women folks in the society. That is to say, there is no way in the constitution that says because you are a female child, you cannot inherit your father's property or your late parent's property, or whoever you ought to, by law, entitled to his or her estate after his or her lifetime. So that is then let me now come to say that it is not optional, it is constitutional, it is important for you to have your will. Your will must not be written. I have stated this earlier. Your will could be oral. You can create your will orally, provided the person you are confiding in is a trustworthy person who will be able to speak for you after your lifetime, and he will do it impartially. He will do it incompatible with your lifetime instruction.
Okay, so from all you just said, do you think it's important for people to write wills?
The educated ones. When someone is not educated, when you write something for the person will look blind to the person. Even if you read it to the person will even feel cheated. That is why I have said the educated ones, to avoid this, needless, to protect your family name. Okay. Notwithstanding the legality of sharing formula of the content of the will, I must equally state here that it is important for you to do things in such a way that your family names is not exposed, or your family's affairs is not made public items, as was the case in the case of Ukeji and co. Even this IDIKWU that I have just cited. Because if the man, late Ukeji, had created his will during his lifetime, registered it, wherein spelled how the sharing formula of his estate, there wouldn't have been all this the disagreement. Now, there are certain traditions that are very strong, notwithstanding if you are not alive, will you pursue your constitutional right? Because what I am saying now is that if any aspect of section 42, subsection 1 and paragraph A and subsection 2 is breached, it is a fundamental vice and it falls short of the entire chapter 4 of the 99 Constitution, and the person can even file a fundamental right action to enforce his or her right in pursuant to section 46 of the 99 Constitution and order 2 rule 1 of the Fundamental Enforcement Procedure Rule 2009. Now, this your will, if you are educated, create it accordingly. But if you are not educated, try your best to have someone you can confide in. That, look, this is how I want my things to share. That doesn't mean that you are going to even die untimely. Some people, maybe they will be afraid when they come and call someone and say, when I die, tell my children, let them share my things like this. They will give this man. Even if you say, give it to my wife, your wife is entitled to it. That is your will. That is just it. It is important to do this. If you don't want to drag your family's affairs to public criticism and ridicule, then you must do this in such a way that your children, the beneficiaries of the content of your will confine themselves to the terms contained therein.
Okay, so this will be your recommendations.
It is my recommendation. Okay. It is my recommendation that if you are educated, have your will written and of course registered. If you are not educated, it is not that because you are not educated, that doesn't mean you are misfortune or anything. That is your status for now. Confide in someone. If it is just a farm you have, share your farm. If it is 10 lines, one line, those you have, even those that have done well to you when you are still alive, you can say, if I'm not around, give 10 tubers of yam to that my friend's daughter, to that my friend's son, that you do. So shall it be. There are instances where people in my place, when somebody die, this ordinary cup, drinking cup, this tea cup, ordinary shoe, if you don't share it to the satisfaction of their deceased father, the spirit of their deceased father will trouble you till the person will, the spirit will even draw you to join the ancestors too.
Okay.
That is to say, you must keep intact all the person has instructed you during the person's lifetime. Will is will. It is just the difference in definition and the position in law.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Barrister Eva Anthony.
You're welcome.
It's really an honor having you.
You're welcome. Pleasure is mine, Augusta.
Welcome back. At this juncture, we will call it a day on today's episode of Judiciary Watch. Don't forget to send us comments and contribution on our email and social media platforms. Until then, remain law abiding.